Happy New Year, everybody. This is Coach Jan, and welcome to Tai Chi to the People, presented by Justice for Hire. Justice for Hire is a show we are producing as a community. That means that anybody can join the cast of our show, and you can do that right from justiceforhire.app. And Justice for Hire is produced by my startup company. It's the world's first social film studio called Real World. The whole focus is to make movies and shows and commercials with the world. So starting today, all of our, we normally dedicate these Tai Chi to the People sessions to a noble cause of the week. Real World right now is we're running our first equity crowdfunding campaign. So if you like the Tai Chi, please consider investing in Real World at wefunder.com/realworld. I'll put a link here that you can check that out. And see what we're doing. Follow us on Instagram, etc. Check out Justice for Hire, obviously. But what we're doing is going to be the future of how movies, shows, and commercials are made. And I feel very, very honored to be a small part of it. So that being said, this is our first Tai Chi to the People session of the year. And I am still dealing with some after effects of COVID. I'm fortunate that my COVID experience is very much just like a flu. But that being said, I hardly ever take any time off at all. So I was very much looking forward to the end of the year to taking a few days off. And so getting sick kind of ate into that. And I have still not had my full days off. So I'm doing my best to take it easy, that being said. But I want to start this year off with ideas of value for Tai Chi, for specifically Tai Chi push hands. Again, I was a coach of the U.S. Tai Chi push hands team and former team captain for the 2009 to 2011 seasons. And I want to share some concepts in Tai Chi that I think if you have not come across these, then this will be new to you. If you have come across these, then I hope to add some nuances that you may not have come across because sports Tai Chi push hands is a very particular thing. And I'll want to say one other thing. I'll be putting out a video soon in connection to the concept of nuances of sports Tai Chi push hands. Sports Tai Chi push hands is my favorite sport in the world, hands down. I think push hands in general is one of the greatest pastimes a person can do, with especially if you are living in the same household as somebody else who does push hands. It is of immense value, builds a massive amount of strength, all these health benefits, and from a martial arts perspective, affords you a level of sensitivity that is rare across any martial arts. I've trained, I've fought professionally, I've done all this stuff, and sensitivity is still something that even pro fighters still could always use a lot of work on, and push hands provides that. That being said, I was watching my Josh Waiskin, my former coach. He brought together on a day in 2009, and I was there this day, and there's a bunch of video content from that day, and some of which is on my channel. But the one I want to talk about in particular is on Black Horse Tai Chi's channel. That's Casey Payne out in Taiwan. He's great guy. Also a top sports Tai Chi push hands competitor. And he recorded Marcelo Garcia, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and the person who gave his first black belt to my coach, Josh Waitskin, versus Chen Chichen. And that Chen Chichen is the 16-time Tai Chi World Cup push hand champion. Best player, in my opinion, pretty much that ever lived in that sport, and buddy and friend, and just all around amazing athlete. But in this video that I'll also link to, you'll see that and I'll do a commentary video, an original one soon. You'll see that because of the rules of sports push hands, and his adherence to those rules versus Marcelo Garcia, who is not limited by those rules, who's grabbing the leg, who's dropping to the ground and doing takedowns, very particular takedowns. You can see, and I felt this as a martial artist myself, push hands, one of the values of push hands that always has to be taken into account when you get into the sport of it is the concept of ring awareness and the out of bounds. Once you know that you can lose a point by going out of bounds, then you are in, whether it's you as a push hands player or you as any particular type of athlete, you are immediately dealing with the danger of that and fighting against it. So it's a game that a lot of people, if you have control and you have if you have a knowledge of the science of pushing, you're going to excel in that game. And you're going to be able to use your knowledge of the science of pushing against somebody who might only be a grappler, meaning that they know takedowns and locks. If you take that out, if you take out the out of bounds concept in sports push hands, and now you're only playing for a takedown, that is a game you should be able to play if you are a grappler. If you are a sports push hand player, you may not be able to play that game and play it well. I think this is really, really important. And this is something that I think that the sports push hands community, especially outside of Taiwan and outside of that wonderful circuit in Asia, the sports push hands, the players may not be finishers. I would never consider myself a finisher until I started learning Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And even then, like, that's not my favorite sport. I love Jiu-Jitsu. And I'm going to get to our training here soon. But everything I'm saying now is leading to our training. So if you are playing, and the concept of bounds and out of bounds is very, very important in street fights. It's very important in real violence, in any type of space control, in any particular scenario. You have people, you have objects, and you can move people into objects for an advantage, whether that's a table, a chair, a wall. So bounds and out of bounds are boundaries, and being out of bounds are always very, very important. Out of bounds meaning like, oh, hey, there's traffic over there. I pushed the person into traffic. Now, like obviously, like I'm an athlete. I do my best not to talk too much about real world violence. I do my best to keep that out of my mind because I think it creates too much tension in the body. I think it's important to train for it at times, but to live a happy life. But that being said, finishing is a real thing. And so I have a lot to say on this. This has been on my heart and mind. I want to share this. And when it comes to the exercises that we're going to do today, which are, I've never really shown before. And that's because I think that they are easily mistaken as soft exercises that may or may not help you martially. That is how it could be perceived. I want to talk about this. My Tai Chi teacher, I have multiple Tai Chi teachers. Keith Tong, Sifu Keith Tong in New York, Wu style, lineage of Wu Gongyi. His father trained directly with Wu Gongyi, and because they worked in a factory together. Keith would show us this exercise, myself, my father, or my Tai Chi uncles, and he would just be standing there. He'd be buying fruit, and he's just gently grabbing, manipulating the air. More specifically, the intention. So you can talk about that, and this, I'm going to connect this to finishing soon. There are many different ways to think about pulling chi. And now, if you are a real martial artist, if you're somebody who doesn't believe in chi, please stay with me for a second. And if you do believe in chi, please stay with me, because I want to talk about whether you believe in chi or not, the concept of generating sensations for yourself. And all you need to do to generate a sensation for yourself is to have a thought. And it's very, very important. So it doesn't actually matter if you believe in chi or not. But this concept, the reason I mentioned chi, and I'm starting with this conversation, this pre-framing, is that you want to feel like you're almost massaging the ether, tugging at the ether. And you could call it the chi. You want to feel like you're picking it up, playing with it, moving it. But it doesn't matter if you're doing that or not. What matters is that you're giving yourself the sensation of touching something softly but firmly. Giving yourself that sensation of touching something, pulling at it softly, firmly, letting it go. Pulling at it again, letting it go. Moving, and you just start with that. And the reason I wanted you to do this today is because this helps with the concept of sticking in Tai Chi. Tai Chi is sticking is a very Tai Chi concept. It does appear in other martial arts, but I don't think with the same level of intent and detail that it does in Tai Chi. Being able to roll gently someone's arm to the angle that you want it, very gentle, firm touches, to stick and ride their pressure, to pull gently and to know that they'll potentially resist and that they'll pull away, and then to ride them as they pull away. All of those little ideas help, especially in sports grappling, sports Tai Chi push hands, and in grappling in general. When I'm playing with a person who doesn't care about Tai Chi, and I do that a lot, and I do it on purpose a lot, when I do that, I always have to be thinking about how to give them more to think about so that they are overwhelmed by their own thoughts so that I can do the things that I want to do. And that is a major part of my personal strategy. And just being able to gently do this. And again, there are many different ways. We've done White Crane spreads his talents before. You've done this exercise with me, and if not, you can just look up Coach Jam, White Crane spreads his talents. It's one of the 12 yin set of Nagong. I have the entire 12 yin set on my YouTube channel now. You can watch it. You do these exercises, and you start to give yourself little waves as well. Inside, meaning going inside, and outside, both directions. And obviously, someone grabs the wrist, going against the thumb, going inside. These little waves, wave and pull, wave in and pull. You can do it with the arms outward, wave and pull. One, and you can even go gentle tug. There's a specific exercise. Pull, you can go 1, 2, pull, pull, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then reverse directions, other direction. 1, 2, right here is where I do that little pull. 3, 4, 5, there you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're flicking the fingers open. Boom, exploding the hand out. So, and it's not just shooting the chi off the fingers. It's an actual full flexing, exploding through the forearm. So you do these exercises so that when you're playing, and I'm going to do a little shadow push hands right now, like shadow boxing, shadow wrestling, shadow boxing, shadow push hands, very, very important. It's very, very important for you to be able to visualize and to generate the sensation for yourself of playing with another opponent. You generate these sensations in the same way you generate these sensations here of lifting pulling the ether or pulling the chi or just pulling something heavy and sticky and then letting go of it. Do the same thing here. So let's play for a second. You can, I always recommend aiming the palms for the elbows of your opponent. That is a massive strategic point of Wu style Tai Chi. You aim for the elbows first. You don't aim for the wrists. If you ever see me aiming from the wrist, it's because I know I can get back to the elbows. So that's just a strategic point. The elbows are the place where you can control the entire body from the arm. You will not be able to do the same thing, the same control from the wrist, from the hand, or even from the shoulder, but the shoulder is a different and very key control point. So here, boom, aiming for the elbows. So you start playing around and you start playing with gentle roll, boom, press down, press, and you're doing the pull and the press and the pull and the press to start establishing for yourself what with the opponent. You're imagining the opponent, of course, but when you're actually playing an opponent, you're doing your best to test their reactions. And you do this for the entire round. I mean, obviously, you're always testing the opponent's reactions and then taking advantage of it. And you do your best to do this rapidly. But here, I have my left leg forward, left hand forward, just like I'm boxing. So I'm here, and I'm going toward what would be a 50-50 clinch if I actually got closer to the opponent, we were body to body. But right now I'm at mid-range. I press, I pull. I'm using my right hand. Boom, press, pull, press, pull, press, pull, press right here. And the second I know that I'm getting some reaction on this arm, I might push it down, and knowing that they're going to push back, I give a little bit of back pressure. They push back, I boom, go right for the arm drag. So push down, they push up. And as they're pushing back, I guide that upward motion toward my arm, right here. I might even slide my hand down from the elbow just to create some space, whip it across. My other hand releases the elbow here, comes across to the other tricep, so behind the elbow of the opponent. And I'm right here. Might step around, boom, and come and go for taking the back. Taking the back doesn't always work. And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So you need to be ready that if you pull somebody and you can't take the back, that you're on and you step, you should be on an angle that essentially gives you a straight line from their one shoulder through the other. If you get that, you only have half that arm drag, boom, pushing up. So let's do these shadow boxing for a second, shadow pushing for a second. Push, pull, push, pull, boom, step across, don't get it, pushing out of the ring. Boom. So now we want to talk about finishing. So if we're in a position, if we're playing a grappling game where we need to finish, I think this is really, really important. Before I even get to the concept of where we need to finish, always establish the rules of your game before you start playing it. I can't stress this enough, especially for Tai Chi people. A lot of times, a lot of the sloppiness that comes from Tai Chi push hands, and when I say the sloppiness that comes from Tai Chi push hands, I mean that you might have people that don't know what they're looking at when they look at Tai Chi push hands, think it's two people pushing each other, which is not accurate for it looks like that to a layman, but obviously if you do push hands, you know that that is not the case. There's a lot more going on. So, but it's important to understand that for yourself, you should have the clarity of knowing what the merit-based achievement is to pursue. And for some people, it's a step. So some people are playing fixed step and they're playing these games, and then the first person to step loses. So that's great. But if that's your game, play that game. And the second the step is there, cut, stop, and reset. And make sure your partner does that too. I cannot stress this enough, because otherwise you're going to start getting in situations where you're playing, the person steps, and they keep on playing. And they don't take that moment, that breath, that very important pause to reset. And therefore, the game just rolls on. And what's happening is that two people are, yeah, they're giving themselves a workout, they're doing all this other stuff, but you're not competitors. You know, and because competition is structured. And I cannot stress enough the value of the competitive mindset and being able to give yourself the clear goal to achieve that, to recognize your achievement, and then to move on to the next achievement. So give yourself the clear goal, achieve that goal, and then give yourself a moment's break to reset and move on to the next achievement. That is the competitive mindset. That is part of it. And a key component for performance in any arena. Otherwise, you're just going, and then it starts to look sloppy, and then it becomes challenging for you to test a start and an ending, to test concepts and techniques within the barriers of beginning and end within those two bookmarks. So really just allow yourself to, whether if you're doing moving as well, if you're doing moving, excuse me, if you're doing moving, I cannot stress enough, one, of course, having boundaries so you can move each other out of those boundaries. And two, if you have putting people to the ground, that's great. Remember, if you're a Tai Chi player, if you're a Tai Chi player and you're playing against a judoka, or you're playing against any type of grappler, a lot of times grapplers, I think traditional wrestlers are, in my experience, are the most fluid, honestly. Not to say that other people are not, but I'm saying in terms of chain wrestling, moving from one technique to the other. I find that judo players, etc., have much more clearly defined. I feel like I'm kind of almost going off in a rant that's not even necessary to talk about. So I want to refocus this. If you are playing against a person who's not a Tai Chi person, whatever style, oftentimes they're going for very specific techniques, whether they're in judo, Greco-Roman, etc. Tai Chi, was one of my teammates once put it, happens in the evolution of someone else's technique. So there are techniques, but a lot of times in our experience, our techniques happen in the midst of someone else's. So if they're going from point A to point B, between A and B is when we're executing. So I think it's really, really important, if you're playing moving or fixed step, to make sure that you have your grappling game to an extent that allows you to push somebody to the ground, push or throw to the ground. If you're not doing very clear throws from Sambo or Judo or Greco-Roman or something like that, that you have adapted, which you should take all these throws and adapt them because they're already in your Tai Chi form. It's just a matter of you recognizing where they are in the Tai Chi form. And so if you want to, do one of those armbar throws, that's there. It's in the Wu style. It's in the other styles as well. And yeah, practice those, and make sure you practice them outside of your sparring sessions. Meaning you drill your throws over and over, and then when this has become more of an advice session for Tai Chi, sports Tai Chi sparring. But essentially, make sure that you're getting into a position where you have drilled techniques that then you are then testing in your sparring session with your partner that you care about. You want to care about each other so that you can be healthy and strong throughout your training session, and then finish it strong and feel good. So I can't stress enough, know your goal, achieve those goals, take a break, meaning a pause, end the round, start again, because that's the only way you're going to really build up for the sport of Tai Chi push hands. And now back to the concept of finishing. So, this is the only exercise that I've really talked about today. And this exercise is so casual. It is something that you're talking, you're just gently doing it. And people might think you're weird, and that's okay because you're all next level. It's really important to do these exercises on your own, even if you're at home, boom, feeling the air. I was playing with these today, yesterday. They're playing with these earlier. I haven't done these in a while. My father, I grew up with him doing this stuff. And that's great. And obviously lots of health benefits there. But being able to just do this in the same way that you might take those balls and be watching TV, etc., grabbing the air, etc. But I want to finish up in the few minutes we have left. The concept of finishing, and I'm not going to. I'm going to share a little idea here because finishing is its own. You have to train finishing techniques to be able to finish. So I think it's really important to just remember, and like I said, I will post the video, my commentary on that Marcelo Garcia Chen match, which is very, very important. I think it's of the utmost importance for you to be able to recognize that when you play outside of your style, that you have to clarify what the rules are. If you are a push hands player and you're playing with somebody who's not in push hands, really make sure that you both understand the rules, because the last thing you want to do is not represent yourself properly. Because if you don't represent yourself properly, then the people playing with you or the people observing you are going to get the wrong idea, because you didn't sell the right idea. You didn't establish the right idea. And I think that's one of the most challenging things for Tai Chi, is having somebody who is not just a strong player, but also has the ability to articulate themselves going into a martial experience of what what they're anticipating, what they're expecting, and what they'd like to showcase. Because otherwise, if you don't have the clear, and people don't know that your Tai Chi push hands is about space control, dominating space, taking space, claiming space, throwing, etc., like explosive joint manipulation, all this other stuff, which for many of you it may not be, but for me it is. So if I can't establish that's my goal for myself, one, and then be able to showcase that goal in my play, two, then I'm not necessarily giving the right impression of I'm not giving the best version of myself, the clearest version of myself to my opponents and to the spectators. And the spectators are the people who are either going to be interested and want to train with you or learn from you or spread your message more, or potentially do the opposite. And I think a lot of times outside the Tai Chi community, we get a lot of people doing the opposite because they're like, oh, Tai Chi sucks, or it doesn't look cool, or it's not effective. So I think that there's obviously a lot of Tai Chi players who have branched out to other arts, or who have come from other arts into Tai Chi. And I only say any and all this because I want to make sure that we're continuing to grow the art. And like I said, next week I will be even stronger and we'll do more. But find what make sure you clarify how you can finish. If you can't finish, clarify how you can finish. So if you're playing with a grappler, are you playing to submission? If you're playing to submission, obviously, clarifying the tap out, etc. But also, if you are a push hands player, do your best to make sure you bring that element of space control back in, the boundaries. If you can do that, then you add value for the people who don't normally play with boundaries. Boundaries are so important. And a lot of times you'll get grapplers forgetting that they have to stay in the ring. Or if they are thinking about staying in the ring and you're pushing them out toward the ring, that's when you oftentimes can throw them. And that's because of the fact that you should know, as a Tai Chi push hands player, more of the science of pushing than somebody who is not a Tai Chi push hands player. So that was mostly talking for today. Again, just to review this exercise, gently grabbing, giving yourself the sensation of pulling the ether, pulling something soft and firm with a soft, firm idea with your fingers, with your hands. You can do it on both hands. Gentle, you can pull from the air upward, downward, boom. Gentle pulling, and then you can start doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then flick 2, 3, 4, 5, and then reverse it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, flick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, and do that over and over again. Oftentimes, you'll be seated in the horse stance, and you just do that over and over again. Horse stance. Well, again, if you don't already know this, half horse stance in Tai Chi. Boom, out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, and then flick. and then reverse it. 2, 3. You can also do it forward. 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at how I'm gently pulling at the end. Boom, right at the end. I'm speeding it up so it's more overt, but it's actually very soft. 4, 5, and 1, 2, and then reverse it. 4, 5. And you can also do it with the palm up. Same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Reverse it. So that exercise, is very much very helpful, especially if you do the Neigong. If you don't do the Neigong, I recommend doing it, and it'll absolutely increase your it'll increase the sensation you are generating for yourself. In my experience, it does that. And please always ask questions if you have any questions. Today's first session of the year, again, I'm still dealing with some COVID, but I'll be fine. And I'm grateful for all of you who watch and who comment. And this is Tai Chi to the People. We do this every week, Tuesdays at 8 p.m. EST. Anyone's welcome to join on Zoom. You can join, RSVP to join from the justiceforhire.com site. That's justiceforhire.com/events. You'll be able to find a Tai Chi to the People RSVP link on there. So always feel free to go there. You can join the Justice for Hire cast from that same website. You'll see the app, and you can go to Justice for Hire, that app also directly. And there's always a way to join through the app as well. Justice for Hire is a show that we are producing with the community. So anyone can join the cast, and you're always welcome to. I'm part of the cast as well, and I'm producing the show. And I'm producing it through Real World, which is REELWURLD, Real World. And that is our social film studio, the world's first social film studio, making movies, shows, commercials with the world. If you like this Tai Chi to the People session, please consider taking a look at wefunder.com/realworld and potentially investing on there if you like what we're doing. We have until April 30th to finish our raise, and we're building every week, building more and more investors and people that want to change film and TV, and also storytelling and being a hero in one's own life, which is really the core of what we're talking about. So thank you all as usual. And I hope everyone has a healthy and safe and wonderful and joyous and abundant new year, 2022. It's a very, very powerful year. So sending love in all directions. And as I've said in the past, Tai Chi is my favorite thing to share. And being able to share it in this way means a lot to me. And so when I talk about other styles, which I do train, I really don't talk too much about styles that I don't train in. I've trained in Sambo, I've trained in Judo, I've trained in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And so there's value to all these arts. And my intention is never to take away from the illustrious nature of any one of these particular paths, because they're all paths to discipline. And at the core of any discipline is the truth, in my opinion. So please always know that I have a great reverence for all of these styles, and that I see something in Tai Chi that can benefit all people. And it is what it is in the Tai Chi system. It goes even deeper than the name Tai Chi. So I'm hoping that in my journey for sharing the sport of Tai Chi push hands, you'll see that it applies to so much more. I love you guys. Thanks.